Brittany, you preach that you don't want to deal with a man that deals with multiple women, yet you're dealing with one. How contradicting is that? And I'm all about being devoted to one God, but do it for the right reasons. You literally turned to Islam because you're on your last leg. Women always want to turn to religion as their last outlet.
Brittany Renner just got her heart broken in the worst way. No love, no support, and definitely no ring. Word going around is after spending months or maybe even years imagining herself as Kevin Gates' spiritual partner, she found out she wasn't even the main one in his life. Turns out she's just the side chick, and not just a side chick behind his wife, which everyone could already tell, but one of many. Kevin apparently has a full lineup of women. To make it worse, Brittany wasn't just casually talking to him. She was allegedly preparing to marry him. She converted religions, started learning Arabic, and was even getting ready for a nikah, thinking this was her fresh start. But the real twist? Kevin's still out here posting Drea like she's the one he's committed to. On top of that, another woman named Persian P is claiming him too. And Kevin's acting like a man with a whole harem and a list of goals to go with it. Now Brittany's somewhere heartbroken, crying over verses from the Quran she only just started to understand. You couldn't make this up if you tried. Let's take it back and break it down for those who missed it.
I feel like we're all kind of curious. So are you single or what's up?
Am I single and ready to mingle?
Single and mingling.
I'm not looking for nobody. I'm not looking for nobody.
Brittany and Kevin started showing up around each other sometime between 2018 and 2019. Remember that phase when Brittany was out every week, glowing and laughing on Instagram? Meanwhile, Kevin Gates was online saying wild stuff about drinking, bathwater, and aligning chakras. Their vibe felt real. They were both in that rebrand but still toxic stage. Kevin acting deep and spiritual, and Brittany tapping into her soft, feminine side. Honestly, they seemed like a perfect match. And by perfect, I mean it should have been player meets player. But somewhere along the way, things slowly changed. Brittany shifted from dating athletes to posting prayer hands and wearing headscarves. There wasn't even a soft intro. She went straight into full spiritual mode like she was aiming to be Mrs. Gates of Medina. Fast forward to 5 months ago, and Brittany popped out looking like she just left Friday prayers with the aunties. The internet noticed. She had on a hijab, was talking about modesty, and had a whole new vibe. She said the change was personal, and maybe it was. But it's hard to ignore that all this started right after she allegedly reconnected with Kevin. And not Kevin the rapper. This was Kevin the so-called Sufi sex guru. He was out here talking about energy swaps, soul ties, and astral projection, all while bouncing from one woman's spiritual energy to the next. So while Brittany was out here studying Surah al-Alaq, Kevin was allegedly still enjoying a full buffet. His wife Drea, Brittany, Persian P, and whoever else happened to be spiritually in tune.
Knowing that I was just laid up in the bed with you. Brittany, you preach that you don't want to deal with a man that deals with multiple women, yet you're dealing with one. How contradicting is that? And I'm all about being devoted to one God, but do it for the right reasons. You literally turned to Islam because you're on your last leg. Women always want to turn to religion as their last outlet.
This is where things started sounding like a scene straight out of a Hulu documentary. According to online chatter, Brittany wasn't just talking about Islam, she was living it, fully committed and ready to walk down the aisle. Word is she was telling people she was preparing for a full Muslim wedding with Kevin. Like seriously ready for a nikah. She was out here shopping for modest wedding dresses, asking about which colors would be respectful in different cultures, and searching for bridal mehndi designs like she was about to become somebody's wife. But let's take a step back. Because Kevin Gates is still legally married to Drea. Yes, that Drea, the same woman he keeps calling his rib and his piece. And yet, Brittany was allegedly acting like Drea had already walked out of the picture. The level of fantasy here wasn't just loud, it was in full wedding gear. What makes it even messier is that technically, even if Kevin was a practicing, Brittany should have known that Islam allows more than one wife. But here's the thing. Most people don't really take Kevin that seriously when it comes to his so-called spiritual side. Well, no one except Brittany, it seems.
Out with the old, in with the new, manifesting a new wardrobe, inshallah. I have no idea how this is gonna look.
Kevin's always been a magnet for confusion. He's been stirring things up since the day he jumped in the booth, mixing talk about spiritual growth with wild, explicit lyrics like it's all part of the same message. He's what you'd call a spiritual menace, talking deep one moment, then doing the most the next. And let's not act like this is his first time in a messy situation. He and Drea have been together for ages, but their relationship has always been complicated. There have been rumors of cheating, taking breaks, making up, and just keeping their marriage going through vibes and some legal papers. So when Britney came into the picture, people didn't really flinch. They figured it was just another entry in Kevin's never-ending story. Open relationships, open ideas, and whatever else he's got going on. But Britney, she didn't come in acting like some casual fling. She came with expectations, hopes, maybe even spiritual blessings. That's where everything started to go sideways. One minute, they looked like a couple fresh off a religious retreat. The next, Kevin was back online showing love to Drea, calling her his queen, his anchor, the one who keeps him grounded. So where did that leave Britney? What was she supposed to be? His spiritual assistant? Apparently, someone close to Kevin finally told Britney what was really going on, and that she needed to stop chasing something that was never hers. After that, Britney went silent. Like really silent. The kind of quiet that comes when you're sitting alone, thinking back on everything, realizing you gave wife energy to a man who already had a whole family plan. Word is, she broke down, full emotional collapse. Not just sad, but that deep, can't eat, can't sleep kind of pain, wondering why she erased her past, changed herself, and turned her whole life upside down for someone who didn't even reserve her a space beside him. And now, she's got to deal with the same internet that once called her wild, now saying, "Told you so." And that's the hardest part. Britney used to be the example. Athletes, rappers, influencers. She knew how to handle it all. She turned the game into a business. She literally wrote the rulebook, wrapped it in lace, and read it out loud on podcasts. "I'm not a victim," she once said. "I'm a businesswoman with a pretty face."
That I did in my car where I was talking about how I had sex with, was it 3 men in a day?
Yes.
And then I ended up getting a yeast infection.
Yes.
I came out pretty unscathed for just a yeast infection.
Right.
Considering what I could have gotten.
Right.
But now the Finesse Queen fumbled herself. For love, for potential, for a man who got one foot in the studio, one in the masjid, and somehow still finds a way to slide into somebody else's DMs. Don't ask how Kevin manages to be everywhere at once. It's his toxic superpower. Britney, who once held all the cards, gave up her power. She tried to show she could be soft, gentle, spiritual. She let go of her brand of boss energy just to prove she could play the submissive partner. And now look, she's left sipping honey and vinegar with a side of public regret. But this whole thing gets real complicated real fast. Because here's the real question. Did Britney actually find Islam? Or did she just find Kevin Gates's version of it? You know, the one where you burn sage, post deep quotes, pray 5 times a day, then still take poolside selfies with captions about alignment and inner peace. It's a remix religion tailored for vibes, not values. Faith is real. Growth is real. Spiritual transformations are real. But so are performances. And when a woman starts changing herself from the inside out to match a man's idea of divine femininity, it's hard to know what's genuine and what just a costume is. Was she evolving or just rehearsing for a role in his spiritual fantasy? Now let's be honest, this isn't all on Kevin. Britney is a grown woman, and grown women have to take responsibility for their choices. She saw the red flags. She knew he was married. She followed him on Instagram. She heard the lyrics where he called Drea his queen and rib, yet she still went all in. She shifted her identity for a man who couldn't even claim her publicly. That's not love. That's blind faith. So we're all asking the same thing. Did Britney get played? Or did she play herself? Was this a spiritual awakening or just another example of spiritual cosplay to win over a man who stays messy? Because at the end of the day, how can you truly find yourself while you're still trying to be someone else's dream girl? And when the finesse queen, the woman who taught so many how to maneuver the game, ends up finessed herself, who's really to blame? The player or the game she swore she mastered? What do y'all think? Did Britney fall in love or fall for an illusion? Drop your thoughts in the comments.